Hello, we are back. We are back to do our reading. Today is Monday.
Yeah.
We are going to be reading today a feast, pictures of a feast. So it's not going to be too long of a reading. And let's see, I don't know what feast it is. We never pre-read, so we get surprised just like you guys.
Yeah. Which is nice.
Yeah. So I saw a wonderful and almost indescribable vision of a feast. I saw a church that looked like a slender, delicate, octangular fruit, the roots of whose stem touched the earth over a bubbling fountain. The stem was not high. One could just see between the church and the earth. The entrance was over the spring, which bubbled and bubbled, casting out something white, like earth or sand, and rendering all around green and fruitful. There were no roots over the spring in front of the church. The center of the interior was like the capsule in an apple. The cells formed of many delicate white threads. In those in these cells were little organs like the kernels of an apple. Through an opening in the floor, one could look straight down into the bubbling spring. I saw some kernels that looked withered and decayed falling into it. But while I gazed, the fruit seemed to be developing more and more into a church. And the capsules at last appeared something like a piece of machinery, like a loose artificial nosegay in the center of it. And now I saw the Blessed Virgin and Elizabeth standing on that nosegay and looking again like two tabernacles. The one, the tabernacle of a saint, the other, that of the most holy. And
The two blessed women turned toward each other and offered mutual felicitations. Then there issued from them two figures, Jesus and John. John, the larger of the two, lay coiled on the earth, his head in his lap. But Jesus was like a tiny child formed of light, just as I so often see him in the Blessed Sacrament, upright and hovering. He moved toward John and passed over him like a white vapor as he lay there with his face upon the earth. The reflection from the snowy vapor glazed through the opening in the floor down into the spring, and by it was swallowed up. Then Jesus raised the little John and embraced him, after which each returned to the womb of his mother, who meantime had been singing the Magnificat. Wow. I saw also during that singing Joseph and Zachary issuing from the walls on opposite sides of the church, and followed by an ever increasing flow of people, while the whole building continued unfolding, as it were, taking more and more the appearance of a church, and the occasion that of a sacred festival. Vines with luxuriant foliage were growing around the church, and they became so dense that they had to be trimmed. The church now rested on the earth. In it was an altar, and through an opening over the bubbling spring arose a baptismal font. Many people entered by the door, and there was at last a grand and perfect festival. All that took place therein both in form and in action, was a silent growth. I cannot relate all words. I cannot relate all. Words fail me. On John's feast, I had another vision of a festival. The octangular church was transparent, as it formed of crystal or jets of water. In the center was a wellspring above which arose a little tower. I saw John standing by it and baptizing. The vision changed. Out of the spring grew a flower stalk, around which arose 8 pillars supporting a pyramidal crown. Upon the crown stood the grandparents of Anne, Elizabeth, and Joseph. A little distant from the main stem were Mary and Joseph, with the parents of the latter and those of Zachary. Up on the central stem stood John. A voice seemed to proceed from him, and I saw nations and kings entering the church and receiving the Blessed Eucharist from the hands of a bishop. I heard John saying that their happiness was greater than his. Okay, so that's it for that one. Okay.
Wow, that was really kind of supernatural, psychedelic.
Can I pause this for just a moment?
Yes.
What were you saying, Jeanette?
No, I was saying that every now and then these beautiful visions that she's had about Mary and they're just amazing, and about Elizabeth and about her parents and Joseph, and how he was when he was younger, what he was like and everything. And then all of a sudden she throws this at us. She like surprises us every now and then, keeps us like jumpy,
Like what?
Because I'm expecting her to be describing a table here and stuff.
Right, me too.
Talking about a feast, pictures of a feast, and she starts describing like a fruit. First a jungle, then a fruit, then a bunch of water.
Right.
And then the fruit turns into the inside of the church. Then the kernels are like, so I'm trying to picture all this.
Me too.
It's kind of wild, but it's pretty cool,
But you know what it reminded me of? You know what it reminded me of?
The importance of water.
Oh.
The importance of water, and how she kept seeing John in the middle up high, but water all around him, because he was the one that was baptizing all these people.
Oh,
right?
that's interesting.
So yeah.
You know what it made me think of? It made me think of all the near-death experiences. How how they
flowers.
Well, you know how they said Jesus like went through the door when it was like peace be with you, and they were standing behind a locked door, and they say he went through it. A lot of people that describe near-death experiences will talk about how they can see musical notes. They can the flowers are dancing and singing, and they go through things. And so when and then the cells form, the many delicate white, if you sit there and you look at fruit, you will see little white threads in there. So I just thought it was interesting, because there's so much around us that happens that we don't see, but when you see it from a different view, like when, I don't know about you, but when I learned as my training in nursing, which is why I always want to nail down facts. I thought it was funny in our group text how, and Natalie's like, you're not even going. I'm like, I know, but I have to nail down facts. I'm a nurse. That's what I was taught. So I always like look at the details, because I miss so many, And so I just thought that this was so interesting, how when you learn anatomy in nursing, you have to learn about the cell and the little organelles in there and how they operate. And, like the nucleus with the DNA. And I find that also fascinating. That's what was a little bit fascinating about this. So that's what it reminded me of.
Okay.
Until she went into the whole him upright and hovering, and like that got a little weird. I'm like,
And then all of a sudden you see her picturing her parents. No,
yeah,
not parents, Mary's parents. And
yeah,
John's, Elizabeth's parents, not John's parents, Elizabeth's parents.
yeah.
So I'm like,
And
wow, okay, so that's more kind of like the family tree type of thing, right?
oh, the tree, right?
The
Well,
family tree.
and then she has
Because they were
John.
like standing on the crown, she said.
Yeah.
These people were standing on a
Could you
crown.
imagine an
So
artistic rendering of this
I
vision?
oh wow, I picture a gigantic crown and these people standing in the crowd, and in the middle of it, a giant waterfall, and in the middle of the waterfall is John.
See, you're an artist. You know.
I
And
picture
what
us.
about Jesus and John? They're
Yeah.
fetuses and they are interacting. Like,
Yeah.
wow. Wow. So, and then octangular. Now, what is that? An octagon? I don't even know
That's
what that.
8. 8.
No, the octagon is 8. What's octangular, church? You know,
Isn't oc meaning 8?
octagon means 8. But what is, why is angular added? I don't know. So octagon, if she said an octagon shaped church, but octangular, I never heard that before. So that was interesting. And then, like you said, the 8 pillars supporting a pyramidal crown, like they'd have 8. So I could just see
So there's
someone.
like 8 pillars off of a crown.
Yeah. So the symbolism, I always heard that 8 means the symbol of eternal. Now
Yeah, the
7
8. Yeah.
is eternal. And 7 is like the 7 sacraments. 7, it's a spiritual number too, but 8 is, the infinity. And then this last part, the very last part, is a voice seemed to proceed from him, and I saw nations and kings entering the church and receiving the blessed Eucharist from the hands of a bishop. And I heard John saying that their happiness was greater than his. And I thought, we're lucky.
Yeah. The number 8 represents a new beginning, meaning a new order or creation, and man's true born again event when he is resurrected from the dead into eternal life. That's what it says.
Wow. Wow.
So,
Wow. Yeah, so I like the optics of it, like for an artist could really make this an absolutely beautiful rendering. So anyway, it was a really unique reading today, and tomorrow will be a really long one. And hey, you guys, just so you know, because I'm going to this angelology, we won't be able to do readings on Thursday or Friday. So we're just going to do 3 readings today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. So tomorrow is really long. So yeah.
yeah, that'll give them a chance to catch up if they missed any of the first ones we
Yeah.
did. You can go back. You can look through her YouTube. She has a YouTube website, and on there you might find it quicker than her actual timeline because you post a lot of stuff and you have to go through all that to try to find them.
Yeah, but I'm adding now the playlist as you suggested.
Oh, okay. Well, then you can just hit it and then you can get it. Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, you suggested it the other day and I added it to all the other ones. So
yeah, you can do that.
the arrival in Bethlehem is Wednesday. So that'll be fun. And
Yes.
then tomorrow is the Blessed Virgin preparation for the birth of Christ, journey to Bethlehem. So that'll be fun.
Okay.
And then we'll tie those 2 up.
Perfect.
So we don't do a prayer after this. Okay. Well, we'll see.
We'll see you if you guys want to do the Mary Mantle's consecration.
Yep.
You can see that next. We're going to be taping it next.
Yep. And we also are adding the novena with it.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. See you guys.
So have a blessed day. Bye-bye.